The next one will be David Fono from Canada. He's a game designer, co-founder of Atmosphere Industries. Last year they were here in Berlin for the Your Go festival with Gentrification the Game. This year he showed Mon Trottoir and will show The Wire the Game, I think tomorrow. Yeah. At the moment he's working, or he worked on The Watchers, was a game, for children about privacy issues in the internet. And he's also working on a big, what do you call it? Is it? No, it's a play on many levels.
6-month
media
immersive. No, sorry, it's a 6-month immersive narrative played out across online and pervasive content, as well as the centerpiece, which are three. I'm sorry, I didn't get much sleep. 3 interactive theatrical events of different sorts. And I'm also going to be joined by one of my teammates.
So maybe we should put you plug it in.
Yeah, this is going to take a couple minutes because I also need to grab my charger.
Okay,
so yeah.
So maybe we can elongate the questions and answers from your part.
Do you want to do 1B?
Oh, yeah. Do one.
Somebody
Unless somebody else
more. Go for it.
Ready.
All right. Okay, Byron, can you hear me now?
Use both your ones and the ones on the.
Byron, can you hear me?
I heard the Byron, I didn't hear the end part.
Can you hear me?
I can now.
Okay, so just so you know, everyone in the room can also hear you.
Hello, everybody in the room.
There we go. So what we're going to do is I'm going to talk about this project from 3 angles, and the third one is going to be theater. And Byron Laviolette, who we have on Skype right now, is our resident dramaturg, theater critic, lead writer on the project. Lots of really a very qualified person to talk about this project from the theater angle. So when I get to that point, Byron, I'm going to turn the computer around, and I'm going to stop the slides, so you'll be able to see everyone, and everyone will be able to see you.
I can't wait.
Okay. And if you just want to, and since, like I said, everyone can hear you right now, so if you want to jump in at any point, feel free to do so. By the way, I'm expecting, in addition to this, here's the very special guest sandwich. If we could have applause for the sandwich. Thank you. I've been expecting this sandwich, and I'm delighted to see it here. Although it would be extraordinarily obnoxious to eat in front of you. So I'll save it for when Byron's talking. So, like I said, ZED.TO is it's half over at this point. It was a 8-month immersive narrative which plays out across the centerpiece, like I said, 3 interactive theatrical events, as well as online and pervasive content. We're already done the first of those major events, and we have about 3 months left right now. The next event is coming up at the end of September. And then the final explosive event, where we blow up the fireworks factory, is at the start of November. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk about the project, but to make this interesting for you guys, who presumably are here because you are interested in the craft of these sorts of things and probably do this sort of thing yourself or are interested in doing it, I'm going to tell you about 3 things that we think are interesting about this and which we think are balls that can be picked up by other people like yourselves, because all of this is a huge experiment with some fairly crudely formed ideas at this point. So we're a collective that joined up fairly recently. We've been working on this project for a while, but it is our first project. So we have these crude ideas, and I'm going to tell them to you, and then you can go off and iterate them on and make them better, and totally steal our thunder. I encourage it. So, well, this would be the slide which would go with what I was just saying. So, like I said, the project began a couple of years ago. We've been working on this for a couple of years. This is sort of the first big thing we did where it really started. We knew that we wanted to do something about fear. So what we have created initially started out as sort of being about zombies. 2 years ago it was still kind of a fresh thing, if you can believe it. So we, it wasn't about zombies fundamentally, it was about fear. So we gathered people together and we had them talk about what their fears were. And the big ones, not surprisingly really, were about the loss of control and the breakdown of society and things like that. So, I mean, those are sort of the things underlying the fear of zombies, I think. So 2 years later, we're here now. I guess the thing to contrast against this, the early stages, is something I like to show just because I'm proud of it, but I won't go into detail. We did an Indiegogo campaign for 20,000, and we did it, and it was a whole other topic of discussion. But it's nice. I just like to show that. All right. So, like I said, I'm going to talk about three things from three angles that we think are interesting about this project. One is from the angle of transmedia. The other is from foresight, and the third is from theater. So I know a lot of people have negative associations with the term transmedia. That I'm sort of the transmedia person on this project. For those of you, does anyone here not really know what transmedia is? Does anyone? It's yes. So my definition of transmedia is, and I've never actually had to say this. I've just recited it in my head a lot. It's using multiple media to tell parts of a single overall story, and using each of those media in such a way that the part of the story told through that medium is using the advantages of that medium, is using it properly. So that can mean anything from a single actual plot, a single story arc told over multiple media, and that's basically an alternate reality game, to creating lots of different stories that are part of a world told over multiple media, but which altogether give you, the full experience of that world, which is what we see in things like The Matrix. I didn't really want to talk for 20 minutes, so I have some videos to introduce you to the project. So what we ended up making, which is not a zombie story, is actually an end of the world origin story. It focuses on a company called Biologic, which is a biotech corporation, and here is an introduction from CEO Chet Getrim.
Enjoy!
Hello. Just taking in the morning air. It's amazing what a step away from it all can do. And to think this is where it all started. Here we are, living during the most exciting phase in human history. Collectively, we are on the cusp of developments and creations we couldn't even imagine 1,000 years ago, not to mention 100 or even 10. In fact, in the next year alone, things are going to change a lot. And we at Biologic are at the forefront of this change, on the verge of what is even possible. Our dedicated scientists are at work around the clock and around the world, because who knows where the next great innovation will come from. And that's where you come in. At Biologic, you'll not only be investing in one of the most profitable, forward-thinking biotech and lifestyle enhancement laboratories available, you'll be helping humanity fulfill its deepest desires and unlock its hidden destiny. Join us. There's still a lot to do.
right. One thing to emphasize is that the end of this story is known. The world ends. It's like I said, it's an end of the world origin story. So if you go to ZED.TO, it says in 3 months the world will end, and it's a question of how we get there, and it's through this company called Biologic. So like I said, I'm the transmedia person. So what I've been doing a lot of is building an online presence of the ilk of a fairly traditional alternate reality game in a lot of ways, with some interesting things thrown in as well. But we have the Biologic's Versatile Intern Program, where people join up and they perform tasks and they interact with the Biologic staff. And in that way, we've gained a number of very adamant online fans who actually Biologic is all about testing. There's a lot of aperture science in Biologic. So this is data from real people. We like to ask a lot about urination. That's sort of our recurring question: is what is the average duration of your urination session? And the results are always fascinating. And of course, we get them to take photos of themselves and displaying various emotions and what have you. But all of this is fairly traditional. If you're familiar with these sorts of projects, and you've seen this before. We have the bio leaks, the WikiLeaks of Biologic. We have comics. But what's interesting to me about this project, from the transmedia perspective, is the intersection with the world of theater. So it's an 8-month project. Most of what we do over that time is online, but we really are aggressive, and we really try to draw attention to our live events. And like I said, we have 3 major live events, but in between, we have Biologic appearing at various actual conferences, which have actually been amazingly welcoming at the idea of a fictional biotech corporation appearing amidst their real attendees, and essentially allowing us to fool them before we tell them the truth. It's not a hoax. We fool them, and then we tell them, we pull back the curtain. And on top of that, on top of this emphasis on live components, we have 14 actors, and what I think is particularly unique about what we're doing is we have these actors for our major live events, of course, and that's what they were brought on to do. And we didn't actually plan for this, and that's part of what makes it so interesting. But we have these actors now being online and contributing to the online component, and doing what actors do best, which is perform. The difference is just that they're performing through Twitter, through email, through other social media, as opposed to performing in person. So for me, this is something I haven't been done before. But this is something I haven't done before. But I had this realization a while ago, and I feel like we're now acting on this realization, which is that projects like this that tell a story online over a course of a period of time, they're sort of event-based. The story begins at one date, ends at another date. We've seen this with a lot of marketing campaigns and what have you. But projects like that, they are essentially online theater. There's a bunch of people who are trying to figure out what digital theater is, but to me, this is digital theater. And if you're doing digital theater, then sorry? It's amazing having you guys sitting in the front row, because believe me, I have been watching you guys like a hawk as we were working on this. But getting actors who rather than, most of the time it's geeks like me being puppet masters, playing 5 different characters that do this. but getting actors who are experts in this sort of thing, who are experts in guiding audience members, telling them story while allowing a certain amount of interaction and participation from audience members. This is what they do best, and involving people like that and getting them to actually be stakeholders in the storytelling and in the how the project develops is, I think, something that is worth exploring. So that's the transmedia insight for me. So now I'm going to talk about foresight. I haven't been keeping track of time. How much time would you say I have left?
How many questions do you want?
Yeah. You can ask me questions. I don't need any questions. You can ask me questions afterwards.
Yeah, so we could also take the questions to the panel.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So let's just take 7 minutes.
7 minutes, okay. I have a very nice video which I'm not going to show you because it's 5 minutes long. But it is really great. I encourage you to go to biologic.com. I'll give you a teaser.
Since 1993, Biologic has been giving individuals the power and opportunity to master their own evolution. Biologic's journey into the future began in earnest in 2004 with BioEnrich, a patch capable of organically delivering all the vitamins and minerals people need. In 2006, with CEO Chet Getram in the driver's seat, the company introduced BioGrow, a 3-part topical salve formulated to give you the dew of your dreams.
That's the teaser. If you want to find out the rest, the second half is exciting. Yeah. So foresight. So I'm not the foresight expert. One of my team members, Trevor Haldenby, he is doing a Master's of Design in strategic foresight, which nobody really knows what it is. And when I ask him, he's not sure either. But the gist of it is that there is actually a field called strategic foresight. There are people who do this for a living, and it's about thinking about what's coming in the future, planning for the future. So Biologic is sort of a corporation from the future. The idea is that they're 2 to 5 years ahead of the competition, doing really cutting-edge synthetic biology stuff. In addition to the science, what we actually think is sort of the more interesting bit from the future here is the fact that Biologic isn't a biotech company. And so when we say that, some people say, okay, it's a pharmaceutical lab. It's not a pharmaceutical lab. And they say, okay, right, well, so you're making lifestyle technology. And we're guilty of using this phrase sometimes too to describe Biologic, but we shouldn't, because Biologic isn't a lifestyle technology company. So what does Biologic do? Biologic is a design company. Biologic designs solutions that allow you to live the way you want. So essentially, Biologic, a bit of backstory here. A lot of people are talking about how the past 50 years have been all about information technology. The next 50 years are going to be about biotechnology. So what happens when we have biotech and we go in the Apple direction with it, and we throw a little bit of Starbucks in there for good measure? That's what Biologic is. Biologic is sort of the Apple of the biotech industry from 5 to 10 years in the future. Here is our CEO, Chet Getram, and our Biologic's VP of Quality Assurance, Olive Swift, appearing alongside the keynote speaker at the World Futures Conference, which happened in Toronto, where Biologic exhibited their actual products and actually won Best in Show. Like I said, we told people, we lied to people, then we told them the truth right after. But what's interesting about this from a foresight perspective is the idea, going beyond science fiction. So science fiction, novels, movies, what have you, they do serve an important role in society in giving us a vision of the future by creating, taking science fiction, moving it into something immersive and something that can appear alongside other actual exhibitors at a biotech conference. It takes it to the next level in terms of really visualizing what is it going to look like, how this is going to affect the world. So Byron, now is your time. I I have some slides from the Fringe show, which I'll show as you're talking. But I'm going to do what I said. I'm going to flip this around.
Okay.
Oh, this is actually kind of tricky. We can disconnect that.
Well,
okay. All right, so just go for it. I'm actually going to switch between you and Fringe slides.
Okay.
So.
I got a lot to say, so I'm going to try and do it quickly. So theater, I think when most people think about it, traditionally they think of it as a passive interaction or a passive art form. People are just watching a show rather than playing along. There are obviously examples that break away from that. The speakers who preceded us and the type of work that includes performance art, as well as post-dramatic theater. But really, for me, story is the core of theater, and I think what theater can add to game design, pervasive games, and alternate reality games is a strong insistence on story and a toolkit thousands of years old on how to tell a story. Most people think show rather than experience when they think theater. Obviously, our interest is in providing an experience, but one caveat here is that experience should not be mistaken for spectacle. So ZED.TO and theater are about three things primarily. About participation on a visceral level, about celebrating the coming together of people, and specifically about a Greek-style warning to the population, where the artists are discussing the dangers which may face the polis. And Fono already talked about it being based on Apple and Starbucks and their vision of the producer and consumer relationship. As North Americans, that seems to be the dominant relationship in our psyche. So that's why we chose to focus on it. And as well, masking the identical as the individual, making people believe they have more choice than they actually do. So some of the techniques that we think people could take away from what we're doing, and when we're finished it, we're going to archive it and make a sort of living museum. So there'll be hopefully a white paper, if nothing else, to come out after. But the theater has a large group of co-creators, and it always has, and that's a tool for expanding content creation outside of the DM's abilities or limits. It does require some sharing with people, which some designers may find tricky, but the idea that you can have secondary and tertiary people creating content for you is quite powerful, and sometimes it helps take the pressure off at the right moment. I mentioned the word visceral before, and the manifestation of physical narrative properties as people who can make their own choices and have their own actions rather than a fictional character online really does a lot to support the world building and creation of atmosphere of the experience. Theater is also an art form that is rooted in history. It's something that has a large history of telling story, as well as interacting with very storytelling, online theater, to wield technology as your torch. Actors.
Hey, we're chopping in and out, Byron, which is unfortunate. I'm going to turn off video. Are you still there? Uh-oh. I guess.
You can also plug in the wire directly. That will throw everyone else who's surfing in the room out, and you can get it for a couple of minutes.
Let me quickly. I think he was almost done. Oh. You there? Are you there? Hello? Okay. Well. Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, well, anyway, yeah. I'm going to give him like 1 sec. If it connects, I'll give him like, you there?
Yeah.
Okay. I think I just lost the room because I spent 30 seconds trying
I
to reconnect.
disappeared.
But do you want to just wrap up quickly? Are you there? Okay.
Yeah, for sure. I don't know, where did I stop? Hello? Hello?
Hi. We're not entirely sure where you stopped. It was sort of chopping out. Okay, I think this is over. Sorry, but hey, if you're interested in hearing more as about what he was saying, you know, we're happy. We had a couple people from the Netherlands come visit
Hello,
us.
can you hear me?
It's really bad.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Just a tiny bit.
Okay, one last point I want to make.
Type it.
In its nature, a presentational art form. And so using it to present is a good thing.
Using theater to present.
Okay, goodbye.
Anyway, like I said, we're happy to talk to people. If you want to talk to a theater person, I'm not really a theater person, but like, you know, his email is at Byron@ZED.TO. Yeah. So thank you very much. And there was one last slide, which you had already seen. So if you're interested in playing with us, even though a lot of it's based in Toronto, we still, like I said, have a very strong online contingent. So go to ZED.TO, and that has everything you need if you want to jump in and play with us. Thanks.